help you?
Oh, hi. I was given this number by a church. I moved to the area recently, and I guess I was just looking for like resources. But I'm looking for, I guess, therapy, like either a retreat or something for to help not being gay.
Okay. Try to think. So, are you wanting like ongoing therapy? Are you just wanting like a retreat type thing, or like what exactly are you?
Well, I guess I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of putting feelers out there, I guess. I don't really know what my options are.
Okay, so in our particular office, we provide individual-based therapy with counselors, on an as-needed basis. So some of our clients come in weekly, some come in twice a week, some come in once a month. But for an hour during that session, it's just that one-on-one counseling with whatever struggles or issues that you're dealing with. As far as like any type of like retreat or anything like that, those aren't really that's not anything that we provide in our office. But our counselors would be able to potentially help find or locate those type of resources for you.
Gotcha. Okay. Where I guess I don't know. I've never really done any sort of like therapy stuff. Do they go to school or what? I don't really know. Like what's kind of their background, I guess.
Yeah, so each of our counselors has a different background. Most of them started in the social work field, and then after working as a social worker for years, went back to school to complete their master's and to receive their clinical license to be able to practice therapy. And so most of them, have, like I said, gone from social work to more of a counseling base. We have 2 therapists in our office that are biblical Christian-based therapists, and have a degree in the Christian and biblical counseling.
Oh, do they go to like a theological seminary, or is it that type of thing?
They did not go to seminary. Typically, those that go to seminary are ones that are going to do like full-time, ministry pastors, that type of deal that will go to seminary. What they are credentialed in is to be able to do Christian-based counseling. So they went to school to provide biblical Christian counseling.
I see. I guess I'm just trying to understand how that's, how it's different from just another
counselor.
Yeah.
So they are going to be more rooted in biblical knowledge and understanding, where other counselors who may not have a faith background, they may not be able to help with any type of understanding of, biblical knowledge or,
they might just tell me it's okay to be gay, right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, they may very well just, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
We don't want that.
Well, so a biblical counselor would provide the Christian support to help, reshape or deal with the struggles that come along with, the desire with those tendencies. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I don't, yeah.
It's good. So with counseling, so there's no way that anyone is going to be able to just help you stop being gay. That's not something that you can just like teach somebody and those desires or those feelings go away. unfortunately. If it were that easy, then it wouldn't be such a
Well, that's where I get hung up. When people talk about it like that, it sounds almost like it is God's plan,
for someone to be gay.
Yeah, when people talk about it, like it's you'll never be rid of those desires. Well, maybe that's just the plan, I don't know.
So I also then look at it this way. God does not want someone to cheat on their spouse. But there still may be someone that has those desires to go outside of their marriage, but it's up to that person to control those desires and stay faithful to their spouse.
I guess I have a hard time being able to tell what's God's plan and what isn't,
Yeah. So, with that, I do, after kind of touching base on some of those type of things, I do think that if you are someone that is wanting to be supported in your faith walk with God, then I do think that seeing a Christian faith-based biblical counselor would be a great option for you. Their role would be to help support, encourage, help explain, why sometimes we, may have the tendencies that we do, or, and how those do or don't line up biblically. But, like at the end of the day, like working with a counselor is not going to be able to just fix and make the desires go away. If it could, we would have a wait list 800 miles long because it would be the easy fix.
You don't need to be fixed. If you're queer, you don't need to be fixed. You don't have to change anything about yourself. Oh my god. So they're like comparing being gay to the desire to cheat on your spouse, which on so many levels is that not appropriate, but also they're acting like gay people don't cheat on each other. Hello? Hello? That's what like maybe a third of those DL profiles are. So yeah, we'll get back to the video, back to the call. I just wanted to have a little breather with you guys because like I needed a breather, even just listening to it back.
Because of sin in the world, unfortunately we have these things that we, have to deal with, and, whether that sin be your sexuality or, a substance abuse issue or an adultery issue, whatever those are, everybody has their own sinful desires that they have to deal with, and that's not something that just immediately goes away.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm sorry. I know it's not your job or anything. I appreciate you talking to me, but
yeah.
But it's just like, if I can be candid, I've had substance abuse issues in the past, and I have overcome those and don't have those desires anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just seems weird to lump that in there with my, like the gay issue, because, I don't know. It feels like two different things to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey y'all, me again. So improv is hard. This video is all just me trying to play her game enough to keep it going. But like, oh my god, do I end up saying... I feel like in other characters I've played, it's like far enough away from reality to where I don't feel icky saying those things. But this call was different, and I feel like it like weirdly blurred a line for me where like some of this stuff I feel gross about. Anyway.
Now I do, so, with a, okay, so let's take out the substance abuse issue and just, focus on someone who struggles with adultery. both of those are relationship.
Well, but one of them's being dishonest and one of them isn't, though. I don't know. That's, again, it's just like, it all just feels like apples and oranges to me. I don't know.
Well, so they're still sins of the flesh. They are desires of the flesh. They are sinfully sexual desires. In God's eyes, they're both wrong. In God's eyes, they're both a sin. In the world's eyes, they are both a sexual sin. So, do I believe that someone can be completely healed and released from their sexual desires that are homosexual? Absolutely, I believe that they can. But do I believe that they will still be, tempted with those desires? Yeah. And will they come up from time to time? Quite possibly. It's not something that, there's still going to be those temptations. And so whenever I say completely fix you, they can't guarantee that those symptoms are going to just go away.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around everything.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I may not be, I'm definitely not the best person to talk to. I'm not a trained therapist. I was in full-time ministry as a kids pastor for over 10 years. But, as far as doing any type of, clinical counseling, that is definitely not my role or my forte. So.
Oh, but you help kids. Did you ever have kids struggling with this issue? With the age that I worked with, they're really more, they were at a younger age where, a lot of them hadn't hit the sexual maturity at that point, because I worked more the elementary age. Oh, I see.
And so by the time that they were phasing out of my ministry, that would have been when most of them were starting to become curious or exploring more of the sexual side. And so do I believe that there were kids in my ministry that had tendencies or possible thoughts? Yes, but at that age and in the time that I was leading kids ministry, I don't believe that they had felt comfortable enough to start expressing those thoughts or curiosities.
Well, they shouldn't, right? I mean, sounds like they shouldn't.
I think that.
Well, I guess I don't know how it's supposed to be something shameful, and then also they're supposed to talk about it.
If you don't talk about it, you can't deal with it. And so I don't believe that the Lord ever wants to put shame on any of us. And so I believe that, it is through talking about it and dealing with it that someone can overcome, those simple lifestyles. And so if I did ever have a kid that was questioning it or curious about it, it would be something that I would want to talk with them through, because ultimately you can try to hide it for as long as you want, but eventually it's going to surface, and it's going to become an issue at some point in your life. And typically those who didn't feel comfortable enough talking about it at a young age to just talk through the curiosity are those that end up leaving the church or completely, hating Christianity or God altogether because they were forced to suppress it and not talk about it. Talking about it isn't a sin. Having the desire is not a sin, I don't believe. I believe that it's when you act on those desires that it becomes a sin.
Got it. Okay, so I could
And again, these are my beliefs, I'm not saying that these are, if you could go talk to a pastor and they tell you something completely different and have different beliefs. These are my personal beliefs from my experiences. I have 3 daughters, and one of them just turned 7. And if she were to come to me, in the next couple of years and say, hey, Mom, I'm having these thoughts, I would much rather talk through those thoughts with her than for her to hide them from me and try to explore it on her own. Like I said, there is no shame in the world that we live in. Frankly, the world that we live in is a fallen, sinful world, and they are tempted at every corner by the devil, and they are going to be tempted with sin every single day of their life. And so I would want my kids to talk to me about any temptation that they have towards sin, so that we can talk through that and work through that with them, as their parents, and them not feel the shame of having those thoughts or feelings, and then not feeling like they can come and talk about it, and then acting on it because they felt like their parents or anyone would judge them for having the thoughts. I hope I'm making sense.
I guess it's just like if I was thinking about murdering someone, which is wrong, that's you shouldn't murder people. But it's like if I was thinking about murdering somebody, I would be. I know that's wrong, and I know people think it's wrong, so I would be ashamed to even tell somebody that I had that thought. You know what I mean? Like if you know you're having a thought that everybody's gonna think is wrong, then it's like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to like share that, I guess.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I also believe that there are different levels of shame. Like I'm going to feel more shame about following through with murdering someone as opposed to actually, or instead of like just having the thought, like if I'm,
well,
if
right.
I am,
but you know what I'm saying. Just the thought itself, or expressing that, like coming out. That like that's, mm-hmm. I don't know. It's scary if like everybody's gonna be against you. Like it's hard to say something that is gonna make everybody against you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like maybe your kid wouldn't end up talking to you about it because you kind of haven't. Right. You kind of haven't created a space for it to be talked about. Your kid mm-hmm. just knows that you're gonna like shut it down, basically.
Okay. So
if you want somebody to talk to you about something, you have to make space for that to be okay to talk about. Otherwise, absolutely. They're not going to do it.
Yeah, and we have completely digressed. So let me get back to what you have called for. So were you hoping to get scheduled with one of our therapists, or?
Well, how much is it?
Do you have an insurance provider?
I don't have insurance right now. I would be going out of pocket.
Yeah, so typically for one of our therapists, it usually ranges $80 to $100 per session.
For an hour session?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. I tell you what, I'd like to sleep on it anyway. But do you maybe have a website where I could see all of their like bios or something?
Yeah. If you go to
Poop Farts I Hate You
.com, and then go under there, I think there's like I can't remember the tab at the top, but
I'm sure I can figure it out as long as I get to the site.
I don't know what it is, but if you just go under our therapists, then all of them and their bios are listed on our website.
Cool, gotcha. Okay, yeah. Well, I appreciate you talking to me. I'll check the website out and maybe give you all a ring back. But I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I feel so bad for that person's children. Ooh, that's my hometown, y'all. That's where I grew up. What a hoot, y'all. That was a counseling office. Like, they provide mental health services from people with degrees who are going to send you into a spiral of shame and, like, self-hatred. Holy shit. I picture myself like I'm floating on the water, right? I'm blissful. I'm having a good gay little time up here. And it's like this way of thinking, even though I'm making this call and I'm not falling for it, right? Like I know where I sit. This way of thinking, even listening to it, just I can like feel it kind of pulling me down in like a little whirlpool. If I took my thoughts in that direction, I would be in a constant loop of shame. Such an unhealthy pattern of thinking about this that creates no space for people to want to talk about it, and is administered and endorsed by accredited people, like people who have gone to school for counseling. You can think about being yourself, but never be yourself. Whoa. That's not a church. That's not a crisis line. That's to like provide you long-term care. Oh my God, that's scary. That's scary. It's scary to think about people sending their kids there. It's scary to think about people going there. It's scary to think about that person I just talked to just existing. If you've stumbled upon this and actually feel like you need mental health guidance or assistance or just a little help right now, that's fine too, whatever it may be. I'm going to post some queer-friendly resources for y'all. But yeah, be mindful. Make sure you're with someone who has the qualifications and is actually qualified. Those are two different things and they're not always together. Qualifications are scary, y'all. Like I have a cousin who went to Vanderbilt and got some fancy like doctorate in chemistry or some shit. It's crazy smart bookworm stuff, but has zero common sense, right? Like we would play hide and go seek as kids, and she was the kid who would like just hide her head and think that she was all hidden. Like it's that. So there are different types of intelligence, right? So it's like, yes, I'm sure these people are educated and smart in their own way, but like, should they be offering life advice? Like, yes, they have the degree qualifications, but like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. It doesn't always match up. Like, and that's sad if you're seeking help and things just, I've ran into it personally too. It sucks. It sucks to ask for help and then get harmed instead. That's the worst feeling. To not just not be helped, but to be harmed like further. That's terrible. So yeah, that's why these places are scary. I want y'all to stay safe. You don't have to change anything about yourself. You're doing good, dude. Like, we're all cool here. I'm still really gay. I'm still really trans. And I'm going to keep being a big old... And my therapist told me that's cool. So, okay, guys. Love you. Bye. Also, y'all, let me mention, I know I bullshit a lot in these videos because that's like what these videos are, is bullshit. But I have had substance abuse problems. I was addicted to meth for 2 years. That part was not bullshit in this video. But I just wanted to say that's a real struggle. I think it's insane that person tried to equate that to like queerness. Insane. Anyway, if you're struggling with addiction, I'm not trying to like insinuate anything about your journey. I'm not comparing that journey to anything. I just said some weird shit in this call to like make the call work. But I just wanted to clear that up. I hope you're the best. It's a struggle. So, but you can do it. And don't worry, I am almost a decade out of my addiction and doing great. So don't worry. So again, just wanted to throw that in there. Love you guys. Be safe. Don't do drugs. Other than